Hey folks, it's Sam once again. Welcome back to another review, and this is for a film called Warning Sign. Now, Warning Sign is a film that I had heard about, but uh, it wasn't until I got sort of taught by my friends like Mike and I think Efrey as well. See, Warning Sign is a film from 1985. I remember the trailer to the film. I'm going to put the trailer down below. And check out the trailer. I think it's a well done trailer. I love the narrator. I think it's Percy Rodriguez. Yeah, music from Alien, the first Alien in the trailer. And when I first saw the trailer, I was kind of surprised because I thought this film for the longest time was like the China Syndrome. I didn't know this was a sci-fi horror movie. I did. For the longest time, I thought this was like the China Syndrome. You know, it was a dramatic about, nuclear radiation or it's about something. No, this is about sort of a virus that gets let loose in this facility called Biotek, and it sort of turns people. They think they're dead. They think they're dead, but then they sort of filled with rage. I'm like, a virus that fills you with rage. It's not really zombies. 28 days later, only this was 1985. Sort of the beginning of Resident Evil, the movie. Remember the beginning of Resident Evil? The beginning of the first Resident Evil movie, I swear that guy must have seen fucking Warning Sign or something. I mean, I really enjoyed this film. I'll say that. I really enjoyed it. This is a film that's not about action. If you're going expecting action, you'd be sorely disappointed. If you're going expecting gore, you're going to be sorely disappointed. It's not that kind of movie. But I do think it's a movie that has very creepy, moody score. I thought the acting is really good. I think that's my favorite part. I love the cast. The cast you have is Sam Waterston. Sam Waterston, Kathleen Quinlan, Yaphet Kotto. You have Jeffrey DeMunn, who I remember from The Sheriff and the Blob remake. And also, he was really good in the original The Hitcher. You also have G.W. Bailey, and you have forgot the actor's name. He was in John Carpenter's The Thing. I'm gonna look him up. But I thought had a decent atmosphere, more than decent atmosphere in the facility. And by the way, if you want this on DVD itself, it's like $55 used or $100 new on Amazon. So the DVD's out of print. I think the DVD has a commentary, but the DVD's out of print. I have a DVD-R thanks to my friend Mike, but that's because it's impossible to get this on DVD. And the guy I was talking about is Richard Dysart. You also have Jerry Hardin, who I remember as the character Deep Throat in the X-Files TV show. Rick Rossovich is also in this. He was in Top Gun and on many other films. I thought the whole cast did a great job. Now, it's directed by a guy, for those interested, it's a 6.19 to be, I put it higher. Now, it had two writers. I'll get to the writers first. One of them was the guy who had also directed Hal Barwood, and the other was Matthew Robbins. Now, these are guys who had dealt with Steven Spielberg. Like, one of the two that wrote the screenplay, Matthew Robbins, he had done story and screenplay for Sugarland Express, actor and uncredited writer on Close Encounters of the Third Kind, writer and director of Corvette Summer with Mark Hamill. He also wrote and directed Dragon Slayer, directed Legend of Billie Jean. He was the writer and executive producer of this film. He wrote and directed Batteries Not Included. And that's Matthew Robbins, who wrote and executive produced this film. And then the director, Hal Barwood, who also helped write this. Hal Barwood, he was also worked on the story and screenplay of the Sugarland Express. He was a writer of the Beagle Lawn Traveling All-Stars and Motor Teens, an actor and uncredited writer on Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He was one of the other writers and a producer of Corvette Summer. He was a writer and producer on Dragon Slayer, and he wrote, produced, and directed this film. And then after this, the director of this worked on a bunch of video games. He was a project leader on Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine. He was a writer and designer on that game. Big Sky Trooper. Pretty much after this, he worked at LucasArts. on their video games. It doesn't look like Hal Barwood directed much, which is too bad. I thought he did a good job directing. Now, I think some will watch this and think the pace is a bit sluggish, but I could deal with it. Again, this is not a big action spectacle, but it didn't need to be. And I'll be honest, I'll say right off the bat, I like this film more than any of the fucking Resident Evil movies. And they have a lot of spectacle and blood and CGI blood and also a lot of stupid shit too. Now, at the beginning of this film, I wasn't. It has a really creepy, moody score, and actually, now that I said that, I want to know who did the score for this. I thought they did a really good job with the score. Oh, Craig Safan. Is that the guy who did... Yes, I believe so. He did The Last Starfighter, right? Oh, yeah, Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins. I love that music. Same with The Last Starfighter. Legend of Billie Jean, Nightmares. Tag. That's a film I want to give a watch, Tag. I have that thanks to my friend Mike. Fade to Black. Corvette Summer. He has done a lot of good scores. Remo Williams, I love that score. I love the score of The Last Starfighter, and I really enjoyed the score to this. I don't know if this... Oh, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master. I don't know if this score ever got released. I don't think so, which is too bad, because, again, I really enjoyed the score to this film. But anyway, it has a creepy, moody story, and it takes place in this sort of small town... and this place called Biotek, which they're supposedly working on agricultural means. Of course, you find out secretly it's about germ warfare. Now, at the beginning, I was iffy on this film because how it starts is really convenient. Because, like, you know, they're in their containment suits, and, like, a guy bends down and like a sticker's on them, and then they, without noticing, they lean down and one of the vials sticks to the sticker, and then it drops to the ground and no one notices. And then G.W. Bailey, who's from a Police Academy film, some of them, he's like, "Oh, I can't see your faces. Take off your visors." Then they take the picture, and then G.W. Bailey accidentally smashes on it. He doesn't realize it. I'm like, okay, this is way too convenient. Come on now, movie. Don't do this to me. Come on, I really like the trailer. But, considering that, the film got much better than that. I mean, I think they could have done it better with, you know, I don't know. It just, like, really, this is a really convenient set of events. I mean, it's kind of, not even kind of unbelievable. But after that, it got better. And you realize that people did take the precautions like they're supposed to. It's just G.W. Bailey did one thing wrong. You know, he cleaned himself up, but his contact lenses didn't clean his contact lens. So he puts it in, and that's how he spreads it all over. But anyway, long story short, there's a lot down. These are a moment where the animals are going crazy because they're the first to be, you know, just affects the animals first, and they shoot the animals and burn them. Our character, Sam Waterston, he's pretty much the new sheriff. His woman is Kathleen Quinlan, who works there, and she's the one who actually can order the lockdown. She's in the control panel. Yaphet Kotto comes in with a bunch of like military guys to make sure it's secure. Jeffrey DeMunn, who again I really like this actor. He was also on the TV show The Walking Dead. He's a guy who used to work at Biotek, but he quit long ago, and Sam Waterston gets to him to figure out what's really going on, and then later on how to get in there and, you know, save his wife and save the rest of the people in there. I thought I did a good job building it up. I thought I did a good job building it up, and it really... I think the acting is what really made it work for me. Just I thought Sam Waterston, I've seen him in TV shows and stuff, but not a lot of movies. But I thought he did a really good job. I thought he did a very good job in the lead role. Kathleen Quinlan, I think she's a top-notch actress, whether it be in Apollo 13, I mean, other stuff. Yaphet Kotto, I've always loved ever since seeing him in Alien. Yaphet Kotto. Jeffrey DeMunn, like I said, he's an underrated actor. I love him in The Hitcher, the original, and the 1988 film The Blob. I think the acting really works and the score really helps. And again, sort of the first half of the film is not like China Syndrome, but it's sort of like a little bit more dramatic. And then because they think, oh my god, these people are dead, and they, you see from their camera that's inside that these people are dead, and then the rest of the survivors break in. They actually torture Kathleen Quinlan a bit to get the code because they want to get out. I like the G.W. Bailey at first. He's with them, but then when they start torturing Kathleen Quinlan, I like that G.W. Bailey's like, no, wait a minute. No, this is too much. Don't do that. Don't do that to her. I like that. So it made you... G.W. Bailey wasn't a prick like he is in, the Police Academy films, or I think he was in Mannequin as well, but he was actually a decent guy here. It wasn't, And Sam Waterston, he's a good sheriff. I mean, there's a moment where they're trying to break into the facility before they know what's going on. He's like, give me the gun, I'll break your arm. And as she steps on the guy's foot, it will disarm. I think it's Jerry Hardin, actually. But then the military go in with the containment suits, and they realize that the people who they thought were dead are gone. And like Jeffrey DeMunn has a point, because when they see Richard Dysart, actually, he's like, hey, come on over. And even Jeffrey DeMunn saying, don't go towards him. Step back very slowly and get out of there. And they turn back and they meet with a guy who has an axe. Again, it's not a gory film, but they get taken care of. And I'm not going to give everything away in case people want to check it out, but pretty much Kathleen Quinlan, for some reason, not affected, but you find out why. And then it's up to Sam Waterston and Jeffrey DeMunn to try to find a way to break in, because Yaphet Kotto and them are just going to leave them to die, pretty much. And I'm going to go into spoilers to talk more about why I enjoy the film. But before I do, I really enjoy the film because it's not an action film. It's not a gore film. But I thought it had a good atmosphere inside the facility. I thought the score was creepy and moody by Crates of Fun. I thought the direction was pretty solid. I think mainly the cast very much worked for me. And, I like the idea. I mean, to me, it kind of reminds me a bit of The Crazies, but I don't mind the remake of The Crazies. I was never a big fan of the original The Crazies, but I will say that even between the two, I like this more. Like, I don't mind The Crazies, the remake. The ending, I think, could have been better. I didn't care for the ending. It's like it sets it up for another one, but it doesn't, but it kind of does. And I just didn't care for the remake. I like the remake of The Crazies, but I didn't care for that part. I I honestly never cared for the original The Crazies. I know, shame on me. Maybe it's a film I need to watch again. Who knows, maybe one day if I find the DVD cheap to pick up, I'll give it a watch along with the remake and do reviews for them. But I just say, right off the bat, I really like this film more. I like the cast more. Again, it's an hour and 40 minutes, so I think some people may feel the pace is a bit sluggish for them because it's not, thrill a minute. But it didn't need to be. I thought it did a nice job building up, and then when these people are sort of fell into their rage, it was, even more interesting for me. I wouldn't say it's realistic, but at the same time, I like this film more than the Resident Evil movies. I'm sorry. And I don't know, Resident Evil and 20 Days Later is kind of weird comparing it because those are much more, like 20 Days Later is much more visceral and gory and violent than this film. But I guess because you have people who sort of, but don't expect that type of visceralness and violence in this movie. But I don't know, I liked the film. I really liked it for its acting. I liked it for its build-up. I liked it for the atmosphere inside the facility. I mean, I already said that in the score. And then some of the stuff that happens after, which I'm getting into spoilers now. Um, I like that you find out Kathleen Quinlan isn't sick because Jeffrey DeMunn and Sam Waterston gets in there with his air through this air shaft, and I like this before they go in. It's like one of those fun things that I like seeing in a movie where Sam Waterston, like they can't get into a door, and Sam Waterston's like, "Let me show you how the pros do," and he just breaks the window and just unlocks it. I love it when characters do that. It's cliche, but it's fun. It's always something that always makes me smile. And pretty much like Sam Waterston has to shoot one or two of them in order to defend himself. I think actually Rick Rossovich, he's the one he has to shoot down. At the same time, Kathleen Quinn's helping G.W. Bailey, trying to help him, get away from these, rage infected scientists. And pretty much just Jeffrey DeMunn having to try to find a cure, and his suit's been torn, so he has to hurry. And you find out that the reason Kathleen Quinlan isn't affected is because she's pregnant. She's pregnant, and her body's going through changes and estrogen, and I kind of like that idea. I like that. Oh, she's pregnant. That's why. Okay, I don't know. I just like that idea. I also like the Sam Waterston sets up like here's the elevator, and he sets up this flamethrower trap. I like that. Some come in and boom, practical people, people on fire. If there was Resident Evil, it'd be CGI people on CGI fire. But I like that. It's simple but effective. I also like the idea that okay, at the end of the day, they're able to get the antitoxin ready, and it actually works. I like Sam Waterston goes, "Hey, Clint Eastwood would love one of these," and it's not them killing everybody; it's them doing the right thing. It's okay. You come for us, all these, and it's injecting all these guys. Not only is it the antitoxin, but it's also a little tranquilizer, so it'll knock them out, which makes sense. And it's not about them wanting to murder everybody. It's we want to save people, which makes sense. It's like, okay, if you're not going to give me, the fun bloodshed, at least give me something that makes sense. I mean, some movies actually just they don't have the bloodshed, but you just don't have anything else either. Here, it's like, okay, it makes sense. They want to save these people. These are not horrible people. They're just got affected. They have a cure. So it is, and it's like a gun. It's like, knocking them out. But unfortunately, Richard Dysart, they can't get to him, and he shoots himself. Not gory, but it's not that kind of movie. But it didn't need to be. It just is what I'm getting at. I even like the ending. The ending, Jeffrey DeMunn comes over to them and says, you guys are come over to my house. I'm gonna cook for you. Relax. I'm a scientist. I know what I'm doing. And then those two are like, hey, let's go. And I like the way is the score, and I don't know how else to put it. I think the cast, this idea, I mean, again, you can say the crazies and such did it first, but I like this idea. I still like the idea behind it. I still think the acting was very good. I mean, yeah, Sam Waterston, Kathleen Quinlan, Jeffrey DeMunn, Yaphet Kotto, G.W. Bailey. I thought all the acting was top notch. I thought the score was well done. I thought if you're going in with action and gore and visceralness, you're going to be disappointed. But at the same time, I don't know what else it is about the film. It's just, I think it's a film that worked for me. I don't know how else to put it. It's a film that very much worked for me. It's a film that, just goes to show you that just because you have tons of gunfights and explosions and CGI and creatures and some blood like Resident Evil movies, sometimes they just don't compare to a film that's just has some good acting, some decent characters, a build up, a mood, especially with the score, uh, and inside the facility. And I think I got invested in the story. I think it was one the story pulled me in. The story pulled me in, and I like these characters, and that's really, I love action. I'm not a big fan of the Resident Evil movies, and you put all the Resident Evil movies combined, I still think this is better. That's just me. Different strokes for different folks. And unfortunately, this film didn't do anything when it came out. I mean, it did nothing. This movie made a whopping, what, 1.9 million when it came out? Whew, it broke the bank then in 1985. It made a whopping $1.9 million. That Resident Evil movie probably made it in the first hour of the first day. Every single one of them. But this made a whopping $1.9 million. But I guess the best way to put it, this is more of a dramatic sci-fi horror film. That's probably the best way to put it. This is more of a dramatic sci-fi horror film. But I was fine with that. I was fine with that. And I thought it worked well. I thought it was effective. It was a good movie from 20th Century Fox when they were 20th Century Fox, not 20th Century Fuckface. But yeah, I enjoyed the film. I liked the film, and I'm glad to have it. I'm really glad to have it. I thank my friend Mike OCP because, again, if you want this on DVD, it's $100 or $55 used. So the best way, if you want to see it, is online somehow. Unless they re-release the DVD. But, yeah, I really enjoy the film. I really like it. But thanks to my friend Mike, OCP, for sending it to me. Thanks for watching. Take care. And, yeah, I really enjoyed Warning Signs. Just, yet again, it's a sign of I don't hate everything. And it doesn't need tons of action. It doesn't need actions and gore. No, this is a film. It's a good, dramatic sci-fi horror film, in my opinion. Either way, thanks for watching. Take care. And we will see you later. Bye-bye.